What's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's episode of the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, the Tutorial Boss Guapo, and with me is the only man in history with arms long enough to box with God, Rick Elsey. What's up, Rick?
Well, fresh off of boxing with God. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I thought you might like that. I try to give you a good intro, man.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got our main roster moments, notes from the clown show, and most importantly, WrestleMania predictions tonight. But before we jump into that, of course, I want to drop some thank yous. Thank you to Ross and the boys from Labor 12 for our intro-outro music. Track's called Head Rush, album's called Monsters. If you haven't checked it out, it's been like 3 years. Go check it out. And you can do that at labor12.com, laborxii.com. Thanks to Joe and American Legacy for the Not Your Average merch. We've got our hats, we've got our beanies, we've got our skull caps. May 10th, we're going to have bandanas available. So we got all sorts of good stuff going on. Thank you to JReb's 3D Printing. See this little piece of awesome right here? That's a JReb original. If you've got a logo you want put into a light box, get a hold of Cameron, jrebs3dprinting.com. Thank you to heckyeahradio.com. If you happen to miss an episode, shame on you. If I had a bell, I would ring it. But if it happens, you can go to heckyeahradio.com, click on the Not Your Average Mark button, and you can listen to an audio version of the podcast. Thank you to Blind Ambition Studios for our awesome graphics. TheWrestlingSociety.com for including us in their podcast room. Of course, thank you to the one that puts it all together, the guy, Patrick, appreciate you. He's done some great work on our website. If you haven't checked it out yet, NotYourAverageMark.com, all sorts of cool stuff there. And we've recently put together a Discord, which as soon as the podcast's over, you can go to the About section of our podcast stuff on our Twitch, and you can get the Discord there or at any of our social medias. And I invite you to do so. We have a section for PLE predictions. I'd love to have each and every one of you go join the Discord, put your PLE predictions in for WrestleMania. Let's see who gets it right. With that, let's jump into some main roster moments. What do you say? Start with SmackDown. I like that we started off with Nick Aldis and his "I promised I would keep it professional" thing. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. Then just to have Randy come out and be like, "Look, I paid you last time. We're even." Just saying. It's a good start to the program.
It is.
We got the opportunity to find out something I didn't know, and I guess if I'd have looked at it, I would have known. But Randy Orton with a WrestleMania appearance at WrestleMania 41, it will be his 20th WrestleMania appearance. That's a hell of a streak.
It's a hell of a record. It's a hell of a record. I don't know that it's consecutive, but I know that's a hell of a record. There's not many people out there that can say that.
Well, before we get too far in here, I do have to look over here at our chat. I want to say what's up to Camino, what's up to JReb, subscribing for the 22nd month in a row. Thank you so much, Cameron. We've got Jello in the chat. We've got Eska in the chat. Glad all of you could join us tonight. We appreciate having you here. The Tama Tonga impression from Randy Orton. That was great. Randy Orton with his, and you, yeah, Tama. I like what Randy's doing. We got the whole shooty info type thing with the promo again. Randy says he doesn't want to have to call Mickie James to explain what he has to do if he doesn't get his match. Mickie James, of course, the wife of Nick Aldis. So, just a question for you, Rick, and for everybody in the chat. Is this where we're moving to, is throwing some of the shoot stuff out there, or is this damage control for the Charlotte and Tiffy thing?
I think it might be a little bit of both, but I think that Triple H has been a little shooty from the beginning. I think that he understands that there's a certain level of that appeals to online fans, and I think that the Charlotte Tiffany stuff may have caused them to ramp it up a bit, but I don't know that I'd say it's solely responsible for it.
Okay. I just kind of, because we had last week on Raw, had Jey Uso refer to himself as Joshua, which is his shoot name. So I'm just kind of wondering where we're going with that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like it. I dig
A
it.
couple of weeks ago, Bianca screamed at Naomi, but she screamed Trinity.
Yep.
So I mean, they've been doing it for a little bit, but I think we'll just have to see how much they continue to do it.
Looking over at the chat, we've got Mikey in the chat with his own Tamatanga impression. And the OTB Lilith Blood, glad you guys could join us, says Orton was on fire. He was. Absolutely. And then, of course, we get what you would, well, I say what you would expect, but we get Tamatanga and Solo Sikoa come out. And then LA Knight comes out, and now we've set our main event. I personally believe that this is being done to throw it off, to throw people off. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be Nick Aldis? Is it going to be Solo Sikoa? Is it going to be Tom? Who is Randy Orton going against at WrestleMania? That's what I feel like that is.
I think that they've got a lot of ways they can go, and it behooves them to keep it as close to the vest as possible, so that you can get a reaction at Mania. I really believe that on SmackDown Friday, we're going to get the open challenge announcement. I think they're going to give him the opportunity to have a match. If somebody wants it, they can have it. And that way we can get anybody. I mean, it could be Solo. It could be Tama. It could be Aleister Black. It could be Rusev. It could be Nick Aldis. It could be a lot of different things. There's so much out there. I mean, they just signed Jeff Cobb. So, I mean, there's so much going on. This is a perfect moment to get a big reaction.
Oh, absolutely. And later in the show, when we do WrestleMania predictions, I'll give my idea on who I think that's going to be. Lilith Blood in the chat saying personal issues draw money. That ain't no lie. And we've got all sorts of personal issues going on in this WrestleMania. Lyra and Bayley are going to WrestleMania to compete for the women's tag team titles. And I've heard a lot of people talk about why. Lyra's a champ. She should be defending her belt. Why are we doing this? And I have my own personal opinion about it. I truly believe that Lyra's not ready yet for a singles title defense at WrestleMania. She's just not there yet. But if you put her in a tag team match with someone like Bayley, I could get in the ring with Bayley and she would elevate me. Like Bayley, that's what she does. So to put Lyra in the ring, tag teaming with Bayley, puts her on WrestleMania, but gives her a chance to elevate.
That's true.
So that's my thoughts on why that match is happening and why Lyra's not going to be defending her title.
It's very possible, and it doesn't really bother me, honestly, that she's, in the tag match. I think what bothers me is if they don't have enough confidence in her to have a WrestleMania match as champion, then take the belt off of her and have somebody who can have a WrestleMania match as champion. But then again, at the same time, if you do that, knowing that there's already 13 matches over 2 nights, whose WrestleMania moment do you take away to put the women's intercontinental title on the show? And that kind of rolls back to what we've talked about ad nauseum. There are too many titles.
Yeah, we have talked about that a couple of times. Well, and I mean, I'm going to go ahead and call it and say it's 14 matches because I feel deep down in my soul that Randy Orton is going to get a match.
Well, but technically, as we speak right now, it's 13.
Right. We've got Jello in the chat saying, please let it be Aldis. I'm not going to lie. I would be okay with that. That's not who I think it's going to be, but I would be okay with that.
That's who I want it. That's who I want it to be. Selfishly, that's who I want it to be.
I mean, it would be really cool. Jello saying if Lyra and Bayley win, then Lyra can drop the belt and still be a champ. It makes good sense. And what better storyline than to make them tag team champs, but then Bayley go for the IC title? fighting
That's true.
in fighting between the champs. So there's a lot of ways they could go with that. I did like the fact that we got to see Roxanne Perez on SmackDown. The one thing I took away from that match is that is one pissed off Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, she's big mad.
Yeah, like mad. Like I was surprised that Wade Barrett got in between them. If I was Wade, I'd have been like, nope, I'm out of it. This ain't me.
I think that kind of speaks to the fact that Wade might have enjoyed being in between them.
Well, I mean, there is that. So the Chelsea Green Zelina Vega thing seemed very, very much like a filler. Like I see what they did, and I kind of hate it.
I think that this is the kind of stuff that I like because not every match on a show has to be a full match. Sometimes matches can be angles disguised as matches. And what that was to me was an angle. That was a way to get Zelina a title shot. And I think that's either going to happen this coming Friday or it's going to happen the following week after Mania. But I think that's a way to get her match without just doing the I walked out of Nick Aldis's office or we had a big pull apart in the back. You know, they had a match and Chelsea lost because she took her eye off the ball, and it allows Chelsea to be dumb and stupid and do dumb crap and get laughed at, which is her character. So for me, I didn't have an issue with this because it accomplished the goal of getting us a Zelina Vega title shot against Chelsea Green, which she is very likely to make good on.
Well, and I'm with you on that. My only thing is it looked like both of them were confused. Like I don't know that was the scheduled end of the match. Like they both looked like, wait, what?
Well, I think that's because Zelina couldn't believe that Chelsea be so stupid to be as outside of the ring, and Chelsea couldn't believe that the referee would continue to count when she was so important and she was on the outside. I think that it may have come off a little discombobulated, but it speaks exactly to what those characters should have been feeling.
Fair enough. Mikey's booing and throwing things at something I said. Jello in the chat saying, when Chelsea loses the title, I can't wait to see the meltdown. Some might say she might even become a hot mess. You see what I did there? You see?
Dude, look, I'm just going to say it. That's the best entrance music in wrestling right now. I love the hot mess music. That's my favorite theme song. That's the one that I see myself humming more than any other song when it's on. I love and I love that started in TNA and that she brought it here. Like that's amazing because for people that don't know, the hot mess started in TNA when she was Laurel Van Ness.
The hot mess. Mikey's saying she will definitely ask to speak to the manager if she loses that title. I agree with that. The main event was good. I mean, it was a good match, but it's kind of what you thought it would be. And I believe it's to throw people off the track of what the plans are for Mania for Randy Orton. So, all in all, decent show. I give it a B-. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid B. You know, the thing about WWE programming right now that I think a lot of people have been having an issue with is that people are so used to the last month before Mania just being banger after banger after banger show. But people don't realize that this year's Mania was pushed all the way out to freaking Easter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we added a month of build that didn't used to be here. And there was nothing between Elimination Chamber and Mania. Normally there was Payback or Fastlane or something like that. They gave us almost 2 full months of television. You can't have a freaking banger twice a week for 2 months.
Very
You'll blow
true.
your crowd up. You can't do
Very,
that.
very, very true.
People that don't understand that don't understand wrestling. So if you're somebody out there who is like, oh well, they could have done that, continue to tell me that you don't know anything about wrestling without telling me you don't know anything about wrestling.
Yep. No, I agree with you on that. I agree. Um, Jello saying in the chat saying Chelsea over the last year has taken every angle creative has thrown at her and done it well. Yes, she has. Chelsea is one of my favorite people on any roster. She's great when she's in NXT. She's great when she's on SmackDown. She's great when she's on Raw. She was great in TNA. I mean,
her interview that just hit today with Chris Van Vliet's really good.
I'll have to check that one out.
Definitely check it out. She's so funny. She's so funny.
Mikey saying if there weren't technical issues, you would have graded higher. All right, let me address that. Who the hell thinks it's a good idea? Because I have a service that I use for streaming my channels, and so I'm doing the SmackDown watch along. Everything's great, and then it goes away. Who the hell thought it was a good idea to update the system and make all the changes during SmackDown on a Friday? Motherfucker. So
I'll just tell you this to put a capper on Chelsea Green. I will tell you this: if I was in control and I could put 2 titles on 2 individuals because I want the world for them, it would be Chelsea Green and Karrion Kross. If I could make those 2 people top of the heap, I absolutely would, because I don't know of 2 individuals who work harder to get stuff over than those 2.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And we're actually going to talk about Karrion Kross here in just a minute. Before we do, let's get into Raw. Gunther's promo was a good retort to Jimmy from last week, and nothing to say to Charlotte there, but it's also a good example of how to not get rattled by a crowd. What it did do, though, is it showed that the ring general can be rattled out of his confident demeanor, and I think that spoke volumes.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed with his promo at the beginning, and I like that Michael Cole was like, okay, I was supposed to do this later, but here we go.
I enjoyed getting to watch Gunther be angry and mean and yell directly at the camera. He's usually so calm and so stoic. To see him kind of get rattled and scream and yell a little bit, that was nice.
Yeah, I dug it. Bayley and Liv put on a good match because it's Bayley and Liv. Of course, they put on a good match. But I think that this match was more to show that little involvement from Lyra and flashes of the team chemistry ahead of Mania. Because we had a moment there where Liv was going to do the Oblivion, and Lyra held on to Bayley so she wouldn't do it, and they end up winning the match. So I think it was just to show flashes of teamwork.
Yeah.
And so we started talking about it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Holy hell, AJ Styles and Karrion Kross. What a match.
Really good. Really good.
And AJ bumped so freaking hard on that entire match. Like, he sold the hell out of it.
I truly believe this was Triple H giving Karrion Kross an opportunity to show people what he can truly do in the ring with someone who can make him look like $1 million.
And AJ Styles is that guy.
And I would absolutely love it if Kross is there to screw AJ at WrestleMania and give Logan Paul that win at Mania. Because if we can come out of that with an AJ Styles Karrion Cross feud, I am here for it.
Now, the thing that got me about that, it was a great match, through and through a great match. But here's the thing that got me. And maybe I saw it wrong. If I did, you guys can let me know. But did Karrion Cross put his hands behind his back and just take the phenomenal forearm?
He did.
Like that's some very Bray Wyatt-ish, and now I'm starting to see you. Now you're starting to get it kind of stuff.
He did that because that whole match was Karrion trying to wake AJ up to be evil AJ. And if he thought that falling on the sword would help get AJ there, he fell on the sword.
He did.
And
Absolutely
it helped him save face, because if he wasn't willing to fall on the sword, we don't know that AJ could have legitimately beaten him.
True. Very true. It's
a very smart piece of booking. Very smart piece of booking.
I love the psychological aspect of it. That's the whole thing. That's one of the reasons I absolutely loved everything Bray Wyatt did, because there was a psychological aspect to it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I got from this. So very happy about that. The Penta Finn Balor match. It's what we thought it would be. It was a great match. But great match. Judgment Day interference. Braun Breaker clears the ring. That's 1, 2, 3. That's the steps. But what I did take away from this was watching Finn Balor. Finn Balor had probably his best singles match that I've seen in a year. Mm-hmm. And it makes me wonder if he's preparing for a singles run after Mania.
He could be preparing for a singles run. I think it's going to depend on what happens with the Judgment Day. Is the Judgment Day going to continue on? Are they going to split? Is Finn going to be the good guy, or is Dom going to be the good guy? It's obviously between Dom and Finn. What are we going to do? What's the story? Could we end up having a Finn-led Judgment Day that's darker, that maybe gives us the demon? Or are we going to spin him out, make him a good guy, and then get the demon that way? I mean, I feel like we're overdue for the demon at some point. So yeah. There's a lot of everybody who's like, oh, the build for Mania has been mid. What show are you watching? Because there's so much creative, psychological character development going on right now. There's so much stuff happening. I really want to know, what show are you people watching?
No, I agree with you on that. Now, I will say there are a couple of matches on the card that haven't had the build that I thought they should get, but I have an idea as to why that might be. I'm looking over at the chat. Mikey saying Cross said repeatedly all he was trying to do was help AJ. And again, with the psychological aspect, I freaking love it. And after WrestleMania, Finn has a 14th ab.
Mm-hmm.
Because he already got 37 and a half of them.
I would also like to point out something based on what you just said about a couple of matches that haven't had the build that we thought. Here's the other thing about Mania. Not every match on the show is going to get a gigantic amount of build. Sometimes you're going to have those matches that are really just there to either be a stopping off point before we do something bigger. It's not every match is the end of a chapter. You can go back to Manias in the past. Go back to WrestleMania 7 and tell me where the build was for the Rockers versus Haku and the Barbarian.
Fair.
There was no build. Where was Kerry Von Erich versus Dino Bravo's build? There wasn't. It's a Mania match.
True.
Sometimes there's matches on the show that don't need tons of bells and whistles. It's just a match. It's just a match, guys.
To speak to your point, you can go back to Mania 7 and see that there was no build-up for that match. But you can move your way up to WrestleMania 17 or WrestleMania 21 or WrestleMania 39, and every match had build. So they started building a habit, a routine of every match has build, every match is in a story, every match. So that's
And if
something
you'll
that fans are going to
remember,
be used to.
well, that's true, but sometimes we have to pull back and we have to re-educate.
True.
Because go back to the manias before Triple H took over, we were getting to a point to where every match on the show had build. How long were those manias? We were getting to
Oh,
the point where mania was 6 or 7 hours long. That's
mm-hmm.
completely unnecessary. If you can do 2 nights, 7 matches a night, and 5 out of 7 matches have long build, but you can still end in 4 hours, why are we griping?
No, I agree. I agree. I just, like I said, there's a couple of matches that didn't have the build I thought they would, but I think I also know why they didn't have the build I thought they would. And I'll explain that when we get into predictions. The final segment for Raw wasn't anything real spectacular. Um, it's it was Punk, Rollins, and the Tribal Chief, and it's exactly what you thought it would be. It's them going at each other. But there were a couple of things that made me stop and think. One of them, of course, being Roman pushing down the wise man. That leaves a new wrinkle in the story. But the thing that really got to me was Seth Rollins in his tirade about who needs to win this match and why other people can't win this match. Use the phrase, because it's best for business. Now, we've heard that phrase once before in recent time. It was said right before John Cena made his heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of makes you wonder about some things.
Yeah. Look, Seth has a history of being an opportunist.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
Roman
lot
said
of
it.
opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity in this match.
Roman said it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. You don't know anything about loyalty. So there's a whole lot that could happen here, and I am here for it. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey's saying 14 matches over 2 nights. We can't build everything, especially with some of the huge matches. Agreed. Agreed. All in all, I thought Raw was a solid show. I give it an A-. I dug it. I thought it was good.
No,
Um,
that sounds fair.
it was a good go home Raw. Like, that's your last Raw before Mania. It was a good go home Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I hope the guy is sitting at his computer, because since we finished with main roster moments, it's now time for notes from the clown show. Congrats, TK. You have officially surpassed WCW as the longest running primetime wrestling show on TBS or TNT. You even broke out with the bubbly and everything. But do you think maybe you should have told people why you were celebrating? Maybe, perhaps, possibly?
No, he shouldn't have. And do you know why? Because everyone who watches the show knew why he was celebrating, because his audience consists solely of the internet. That's it.
No, I agree. I agree. But when you stop and think about it, if you've got people that are tuning in, and apparently there is for a reason I can't explain, a younger demographic that watches AEW that don't know anything about the Monday Night Wars, what's WCW, then what does this mean to them? Like, why are we drinking? Like, yay for you drinking, but why are we drinking? Like, I just think maybe you say, hey, guess what? We're celebrating. I know. No, we don't. No.
Here's what I think's funny. They make a big deal out of celebrating that we beat Nitro's run of shows, but you've never touched the tip weekly for weekly television. You've never touched the tip of Nitro's attendance,
No.
and you've never drawn the kind of money that Nitro drew. Even in their weak years, even when they were completely terrible, their ratings and their money were outdrawing AEW.
No,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, and here's the other thing. I know they said prime time, but I'm pretty sure that the 2 hour show on TBS that started at 6:05 ran until 8 o'clock. So, and I know for a fact that that show was on the air for over 20 years. So maybe you're kind of half celebrating in a way that you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I kind of feel that. All right, next one. You've got a talent like Athena, 64-0. I mean, just a badass. So we need to end the streak. Who should we do it with? I know. Let's do it with Mercedes Moné. Like, Tony, come on, man. Even you know better than that.
I'm sorry. Her name is No Pops Monet. That is
No Pops. You know what? I'm there with it. Mikey put something in the chat that I completely agree with. This defines AEW completely. When a clown moves into a castle, he does not become the king. The castle becomes a circus.
It's true. Look, I think it is absolutely hilarious that TK is hanging everything on the weakest member of the Four Horsewomen. I think that it is absolutely hilarious that this chick is making millions of dollars and she doesn't excite anybody but a handful of stands on the internet. She gets no pop. Her promos are terrible. Her matches are only as good as the people she's in the ring with, and that's it. She is the epitome of a machine manufactured 100% carried individual. And the second she left the machine, all of her crap is exposed. She is awful. And I love that it's on display for everybody to see now because she talked mad shit about how good she was. And now we see she is not.
Well, and Jello in the chat saying the Athena Mercedes match was totally unwatchable. It was. It was clunky. It was full of botches. And I know people don't like that word botch, but I'm gonna say it like it is. It was hard to watch. But you know what? Let's don't stop there. Since we're gonna ruin things, let's go ahead and bring in Josh Alexander. And just for gits and shiggles, let's job him out in his debut. Why not, right? You can see the veins in your forehead.
I wanted so badly for him not to be the wild card. I just knew in my gut he was going to be the wild card, and I knew because it was Hangman Page he was going to lose. I didn't want it to be him. I really didn't. But you know, I hope they do something with him. I hope he's enjoying the money. I don't know. This is one of those things. Did you ever see the movie Airplane? Okay. You remember there's a part in there where they're having like a point counterpoint and they're talking about the people on the planes. And the guy who's doing the counterpoint says, Shayna, they bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash. That's where I'm at right now. He bought his ticket. He knew what he was getting into. Let him crash.
I mean, that's fair. We've got Eska in the chat saying Ospreay versus Takashita was good, but I knew Ospreay was going to win. It's super predictable. And Mikey is saying allegedly Omega is the best promo of all time. All right, I've gone back and forth in my mind on whether or not to call this guy out, and I'm not going to. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to call out the person that did this, but I joined just for fun. I joined a TikTok live recently to talk about wrestling. Sounds like fun. The gentleman, and I use that term loosely, that was taking the questions and doing the discussion made a point to let me know that Kenny Omega is the best promo guy in the wrestling business today. What? And so
Kenny Omega isn't even the best promo, like in whatever vehicle he's traveling to the show in. Like he no, no,
well,
no,
this guy.
no.
Well, if you haven't watched AEW, if you don't think he's the best, blah blah blah, going off on me, I'm like, look, man, look. I tried to educate the gentleman. He didn't like what I had to say. Kicked me out of his live. So
Helen Keller could cut a better promo with mittens on.
flip that guy.
I'm
I
here.
like it.
I'm here all week. Tip your waitresses.
That was great. All right. Next thing, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you're watching the show and you have kids near you, go ahead and put them to bed because Uncle Guapo is going to use some bad words. Following a match on Dynamite, and after several shots to the head, Hook is laying in the middle of the ring and vomited. Twice.
Yeah.
To most of us, this is a clear sign of concussion. You stop the match, right? No, this is AEW. We don't do that. No, we instead give him a chair bump and then continue the match for another 6 minutes. Then you take Pac or Neville, whatever you want to call him. Gets a legitimate injury to his ankle in a match versus Swerve Strickland. We need to stop the match. You can't put any weight on his leg. No, we can't do that. We're going to go ahead and continue the match and risk breaking his ankle or something because that's what we do here. This angers me to no end. Here's the deal. This kind of thing can't happen. Now, there are reports out there, I know, from Dave Meltzer that says it wasn't a concussion. I don't know what it was, but it definitely wasn't a concussion. So first off, fuck you, Dave Meltzer, okay? Right in your neck. Cannot stand that guy. Number two, if it wasn't a concussion...
Hold on. How are we fucking somebody in the neck? What are we doing?
Dave Meltzer, we'll figure it out. Fuck him right in his dick scarred neck. I can't stand that guy.
Ugh. Okay.
Here's the thing. If it wasn't a concussion, then why was Hook pulled from the trios match last night? Sounds like concussion protocol to me.
Yeah.
What it all comes, I've said a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have but look, it comes down to this. The ref could have stopped the match. Claudio or Yuta could have stopped that match. TK could have come out and stopped that match, but he didn't. They're going to get somebody seriously injured or killed because it's the trajectory they're taking, and it's going to be because nobody's willing to be the adult and say no.
That's right. In all fairness, Dave probably didn't understand exactly what had happened because I'm sure he was trying to watch TV while he was digging himself out of his hoarder situation that he has in his office. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of his office. That he belongs on an episode of Hoarders. But here's the other thing. Look, do you remember what happened with the Dark Order? This happened to them too. They were hurt, and they continued the match. And I'm not even just going to blame, because you're right. It essentially falls on TNA, on the medical team, and falls, not TNA, I'm sorry. It falls on TK, the medical team. But here's who it really falls on. Because I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to put this back on the same group of people that I love to blame everything on. I'm going to put this back on the fans. Here's the thing. The fans of AEW don't care about the wrestler's well-being. They don't.
No.
All they care about, and this even goes further than AEW, I will go back. There are two phrases that I hate to hear from wrestlers, and I hear them from wrestlers and from fans. I hate the term strong style, and I hate the term fighting spirit. Do you know why I hate those things? In my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I'm okay if you don't agree with me, but from what I've seen in my educated opinion, being around wrestlers, booking shows, and dealing with wrestling fans, I will tell you that those two terms are wrestle speak for we like to be stiff and dangerous and we don't give a shit of whether or not we're trained. That's what that is.
Okay.
Because
That's fair.
more so than not, when I'm at training and I see a brand new guy at training and they talk about the things they want their character to do, they use those terms, strong style and fighting spirit. And they use those because they're probably come from the backyard. And those are the things that they believe makes me tougher.
Right.
So yeah, dude, all of this stuff that's happening right now in AEW, this is the violent mindset of stupid fans and dumb wrestlers that's all coming home to roost, and Tony Khan's just paying for it, man. That's it.
There's got to be somebody in the equation that says no.
Yeah.
And I will turn this around and say I'm disappointed in people like Cope and Ricochet and Samoa Joe, people who know,
Jericho.
people who have been in a system, Jericho, people who have been in the system that know there has to be some sort of structure. And right now there's not. Jello puts it very well. AEW has stopped being wrestling, has become gladiator fights where violence and spectacle are the show.
You know who else defends it a lot online that makes me physically sick that they defend it? Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes defends it a lot. And I don't understand how.
I don't either. I'm not going to say the things I said about Dave Meltzer about Dustin Rhodes. I do respect Dustin Rhodes. I do
too. That's why I'm so shocked he's one of the defenders. I'm so shocked he defends it.
But I'll tell you what, that this has to stop. There has to be an adult that says no. And I'm going to go ahead and say, my blood pressure's getting up. I'm going to end with that. That was Notes from the Clown Show. And we'll go into something a little bit happier. Well, happier for you guys. We have reached our follower milestone. And because we have done that, initially we were going to put up a poll to see what would happen. But after speaking with some wrestlers don't feel comfortable doing certain things because I'm not a wrestler. I know it's a surprise to everybody, right? But I'm not a wrestler, so they don't feel comfortable doing things with me in the ring. And I completely respect that. 100% I respect that. So because we hit our follower mark, this is what's going to happen. May the 10th at BCW Head Games, I will be taking a perfect plex from Damian Blood live during intermission. We will have a camera on it. It will be on our socials. But yes, I will be taking a perfect plex from the one and only Damian Blood.
Oh, John.
I know. So there is our big announcement I've been talking about. I'm not sure how this
games win stupid prizes.
For those of you that don't know Damian Blood, go watch some footage. You'll understand why I'm a little nervous.
You should be.
What's up in chooses violence?
You should be.
All right. Well, as I said, first off, if Eska, I appreciate it. Eska says Godspeed, man. If you can be at the show, by all means, come to Levelland, to the TMW Event Center, May 10th. Come watch it in person. If not, we will have, like I said, we'll have a camera on it where we can put it on our socials. So you'll be able to see it that way. But that will happen on May the 10th during intermission at BCW Head Games. And yes, I will make sure the waiver is signed. All right. This past Wednesday, we did Wrestling Talk Wednesday, and I have the results of that here. So let's go ahead and get into that. The question for Wrestle Talk Wednesday was, what match are you looking forward to most and why? That makes me feel like a little better. Lilith Blood in the chat saying, don't worry, he'll be gentle. I don't think like there's words that don't go together, and like Damian Blood and gentle, those words just don't. Like you can't put them in a sentence together. But yeah, Wrestling Talk Wednesday was match you're looking forward to most and why. My first response was actually from you, Rick. Says I'm most looking forward to Cody versus Cena solely because I want to see what they do. I think they are in a very interesting place where they can pull a trigger on a huge moment that doesn't get the fanfare it deserves, which is weird, or they don't and they waste an extremely long-awaited moment. So I'm definitely intrigued. So tell us kind of what you're thinking there, Rick.
Well, I mean, two things about this match involving Cena. For Cena to beat the record and to win number 17 should be something that is celebrated. But with him now being a heel, if that happens, it won't be celebrated because he said he was here to ruin wrestling. So you're going to have a record get broken and they're going to boo it.
True.
And the other side of that coin is you don't let him break the record and you beat him. In his first match, after a heel turn, in his last Mania. So then what was the heel turn for?
Yep,
so
you make a
for
valid point.
me, they've painted themselves into a weird. Now here's the thing: I trust the process because Triple H has shown me that he's thinking 3-4 steps ahead. So
Absolutely.
I'm only thinking about this moment. So something may happen that makes it all fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm just saying I'm most interested in that match because I want to see what they're going to do. I'm intrigued by the level of tightrope walking that they're doing right now. So,
looking over the chat, Camino's saying Cena will win, and that's all because Cena is the conversation. I feel that. Says Cody's story has finished. Time to finish the 17 times. And I think they're moving that direction. Apparently, we got another follow from Stalking You. Stalking You, thanks for the follow. We appreciate it very much. Our next response was from Eska. Says Chenna versus Rhodes, and I love that he put Chenna. That's if I don't at some point during this final year get Santino Morello saying something about John Chenna, I'm gonna be pissed. Chenna versus Rhodes. I hope he takes the belt home. That seems to be a very strong thought. Is for Cena to win this. Jello says Gunther versus Jey Uso. If Gunther wins, I want to see the riot that ensues. If Jey wins, I think it will be because Rusev shows up and costs Gunther the title. There you go. There's a wrinkle we ain't thought about yet. Seraph says Tiffy versus Charlotte for all the real life drama involved in it. I get that. I mean, personally, like Lil said it earlier, personal issues sell. Personal issues make money. So I definitely get that one. Lady Guapo, Mama Guapo herself, says she's waiting for Jey and Gunther. It's time for a Jey title run. Mike Caldwell looking for the men's triple threat. It has so many potential twists and turns and different endings. I'm interested in seeing what the end result is going to be. Definitely feel that. There is so many different stories intertwined into one. And Crystal Kirk, Gunther versus Jey, because I want to see Gunther get his ass kicked.
Okay.
Now, there are a lot of good matches, and me personally, I'm looking forward to the women's triple threat. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one turns out, and I will explain why here in just a moment, because we have made our way to time for WrestleMania predictions. Before we hit the predictions, I do want to remind everybody, if you haven't done so, please go to the socials, click all the things, the likes, the follows, the subscribes, the buttons, the whistles, all of it. Click all the things. It helps us see where everybody's at. It helps our algorithms. So if you haven't done it yet, hit the socials, click all the things, and please, please, please join our Discord and throw your PLE predictions in that area, and join us tomorrow night as we do SmackDown watch along. That won't have a system rebooting through the middle of it. I'm all the flavors in the world. I'm salty right now about that. I'm in the middle of watching SmackDown and they decide we're going to revamp everything right now. I have been told and retold and made everything, I've been assured this will not happen again on Friday. So let's go ahead and get into our WrestleMania predictions for the night. We will start with night one. Number one, Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Rick, what do you got? And Chad, I want to hear from you too. I want to know who you got in these matches.
This match, like most of the matches on both these nights, I can totally see it going either way for different reasons. I just feel like this is Jade's moment to get a pop at Mania, and I feel like she beats Naomi. She may end up coming out worse for the wear after the match, but I do feel like Jade gets the win.
Okay. I too have Jade. Camino's got Jade as well. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to do a little pencil working while we do this. This is what I think happens. I think Jade Cargill, rest in peace, Naomi. That's all I can say. That's going to happen. It's going to be Jade is going to beat the brakes and probably the gas pedal as well off of Naomi. But follow me for just a moment here. Somewhere in the build to this, during the things that happened in the pre-show or something, somewhere during night one, we are going to find out what everybody has stopped thinking about, and that's that Bianca was involved in what happened. That's what makes me so interested in the women's triple threat, because I have that. Well, I'll talk about that when I get to it, but that I feel like this match affects that match, and I'll explain why. But I do feel like, I'll take my hat off. Rest in peace, Naomi. It's been nice knowing you. Because Jade Cargill is going to get it. Our next match, number two, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. What do you got? Well, actually, before you tell me what you got, Lilith saying it's going to be Jade's night for that match. Jello saying Naomi, which is the first time I've heard that. And then Eska also saying Naomi because Bianca is turning on Jade. So there's some thoughts on that. But now, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano.
I think we're going to have some trickery in this match, and I think we're going to have somebody else under the mask. And I think that the mask comes off to show somebody else that's not Gable. And then I think that Gable appears at ringside, maybe from underneath the ring, a la the double doinks, and rolls Ray up from behind or does something to get the win in the match, because obviously the other guys, everybody knows that this is Chad. Everybody knows it's Chad. I feel like there's going to be some kind of trickery, but I think that El Grande Americano is the one that's going to get the win, because I think everybody's expecting Ray to win the match, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I think this is Gable's moment to have a WrestleMania match, even if it's as another character.
Well, and I feel personally, before I get to mine, Seraph saying Americano wins, Camino saying Ray, and Jello saying Ray as well. Me personally, I think El Grande Americano wins. And this is what I want to see happen. Like I said, I'm going to have some pencil moments during this. This is what's going to happen if I got the pencil. Mikey says El Grande Americano gets unmasked as well. If it's me, Americano wins the match. We go on to the Raw after WrestleMania. And we bring it in on Adam Pearce talking to Chad Gable saying, I take back some of the things I said. This Grande Americano, he's doing a good job. He's winning matches. I think I may possibly even give him a IC title match. At which point you get Chad Gable going, wait. Hold on. I've been here longer. I've been winning matches. I want an IC title match. And Adam Pearce says, no, see, you've been sick, and I don't want to bring you back too soon. I'm concerned about your health, so I'm going to give the match to El Grande Americano, which Chad starts throwing a fit. And he says, all right, you make a valid point, so here's what we'll do. Tonight, live on Raw, Chad Gable versus El Grande Americano for number 1 contenders match. And let the chaos ensue. That's what I want to see happen.
Do you remember when they were doing the Blue Blazer thing before Owen died? Every week there was a different person under the Blazer mask. Sometimes it was Jeff Jarrett. One time it was even Coco Beware, which was ridiculous. But I think it's possible that both members of the Creeds are in Grande Americano gear, and that we have multiple switches during the match. Multiple switches.
I can see it. Lilith Blood saying Grande Americano for this one as well. That's the way I'd like to see this one go down. Our next match, your United States champion, LA Knight, versus Jacob Fatu. All right, Camino. Hold on. Timeout. Timeout. You have to calm down, Camino. Grande gets unmasked to reveal that it's R-Truth. I kind of like that. I'm not going to lie. Mikey says, I thought you haven't been doing this very long. I know, I haven't been doing this very long, but I still can do a thing or two. So LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. What do you got, Rick?
I think that this is the closest thing to a squash match we're going to have on the show. I think Jacob Fatu absolutely murders LA Knight because as much as people will gripe about it, LA Knight is over enough. He can take it. It's not going to hurt him at all. This is going to be Jacob Fatu's biggest moment since he arrived in the company. And it's a big Mania thing. And I think it's the shortest match on the show. I think it's almost squashish. And I think that it's a dominating win for Jacob Fatu.
Okay. We've got Camino in the chat saying LA Knight. Jello saying I don't want it to happen, but Fatu. Eska saying I love LA Knight, but Jacob is on fire. Agreed wholeheartedly. You know how I feel about LA Knight.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dog. But at the end of that match, my prediction is we will be hearing a new United States champion, Jacob Fatu. And I'll tell you why a little later. War Raiders versus New Day. What do you think we got going on there?
I think Big E shows up and costs New Day the match. I don't think they win the tag team titles. I think Big E costs them.
No, I agree with that. Going back to the last match, Mikey says Jacob is the guy by WrestleMania 44. I could see it. As far as War Raiders versus New Day, this is one of the matches I was talking about that didn't have the build I thought it would have. And the reason I think it doesn't is because, much like you, I feel like the Raiders retain and Big E's involved. We've got Eska saying the Uday. War Raiders from Jello and Camino say I believe Solo will cost him the title. Oh, on Jacob versus LA Knight, feels like Solo will cost Jacob the title. That's a possibility we didn't discuss. That is a definite possibility. You know, Solo and Jacob been having their problems. I do feel, however, the Big E return may be, as much as I like all the matches that are happening, that may be the biggest pop of night one. to have Big E show up and cost them the titles and War Raiders retain, I think that's gonna be the biggest pop of the night easily.
Oh yeah.
Match number 5. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. What do you got?
This one, honestly, I could go either way. Um, I think this match isn't resonating because these two women are both playing against character.
Mhm.
I also think that they have no chemistry because they're both heels. And I think that the best possible outcome for this, in my opinion, is to take the belt off of Tiffany so that we can reset her and put her back on her track and get her back to what she needs to be. And I think having her keep the title and beat Charlotte in a match where there's hardly any heat, I don't see what that does for Tiffany.
I agree with that. I've got down that I think Charlotte takes it, and I think Charlotte takes it so Tiffany can chase. But that's not what I'd like to see. What I'd like to see is Charlotte win it and Tiffany still make that turn. Can you imagine the Queen and the Princess both as heels? I mean, I feel like that would be better.
Yeah, I feel like those two characters should have been aligned anyway. They're so much alike. The storyline that they did where Tiffany was subservient to Nia Jax, I feel like that's something that should have been done with Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that that storyline is the reason why we're in the weird place that we're in, because it just shows again how stupid fans are. Because Tiffany admitted that she played Nia Jax. She admitted that she was duplicitous the entire time. Tiffany has done nothing redeemable at all to be cheered as a babyface. She is the same piece of trash human being that she was in NXT, and the fans just choosing to like her is one of the most ridiculous things I've seen on television in a long time. It goes along with the people, we're just going to boo Cena because, we're just going to boo Roman because. You're like, we're going to cheer Tiffany because. Hey, morons, like, there's context to crap. Pay attention. It's just like these idiots who yeet while Jay's talking about his brother bleeding to death and having to explain to his mom why he couldn't help Jimmy, and the crowd's chanting yeet, and it's like, guys, read the room.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just ugh.
Well, looking over here, it looks like Camino's going with, he can't believe he's saying this, but going with Tiffy time. Eska says Tiffy time. Which Tiffy time? Seraph says Thunder Tits. Oh, wait, no, his phone misspelled Tiffy time. Mikey saying Charlotte wins and we have Tiffy facing Chase. Camino saying the Royals. That would be if that happens, if Charlotte and Tiffy get together, that'd be a good call for them. Jello saying Nia will cost Tiffany the title. There's a wrinkle we ain't thought about. In response to you're talking about, them eating and everything, Jello would like to say in all caps, what? Lilith Blood calling for Charlotte to win this one. Well, we just talked about it a little bit, so let's get into it. Match number 6, Gunther versus Jey Uso. What do you got?
I don't think there is a universe where Jay doesn't win this match. But I'm telling you, I hope he doesn't, just for the internet meltdown, just for the internet, because I want the same dumb sons of bitches who have been saying for the last 2 months, Jay doesn't deserve this match, to be the same ones who are saying, why couldn't they give him the title? Because that's what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm here for it. I want Jay to lose so that I can do the Big E popcorn meme while I'm on Twitter, because that's what I want. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's what I personally hope they deny everyone the opportunity to eat.
Well, I will give you my exact answer as I have it written on my notes. Jay wins or we riot. That's I mean, I have officially deemed this the match of 10,000 chops and kicks. Because that's what this is going to be. We've got Jello saying I stand by my Rusev prediction, and Eska saying Jay, but he's going to get his soul chopped out. Yes, he is. It's going to be bad. And I don't know. I'm excited for this match just because of the build, of what Gunther did to Jimmy and Jay's reaction and the changing to, instead of coming out to the crowd and colorful yeet, all that stuff, coming out in all black and getting rightness. I think the best part of that promo was when Gunther picked his mic up and Jay just slapped it out of his hand and just looked down like, no, we're not doing this right now. Like, I dug it. So I am looking forward to this match for that, but I feel like you do that there is 0 universes in the multiverse where Jay Uso does not win this time.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our night one main event, the triple threat. Seth freaking Rollins versus CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman coming out in the corner of his best friend CM Punk. Can I say, just because I need to throw it out there, I have seen family pictures of most of these people. I think we can all agree that AJ Lee is quite the attractive young lady. I've seen Roman Reigns' wife, also quite the attractive young lady. So why are CM Punk and Roman Reigns fighting over Paul Heyman?
I don't know. But I absolutely believe that the winner of this match is the one person who has no personal connection to Paul Heyman.
Okay.
And I believe that is Seth Rollins. Until he wins because of Paul Heyman.
See, you and I are on the same brainwave here. I've got it down that Seth wins with help from Paul Heyman, because I feel like you're going to get the he's my best friend. No, he's my wise man. No, he's my best friend. And Seth's just going to keep spitting out little truths. They don't care about you. They didn't do this for you. They didn't do that for you. They left you to get hurt.
Go back and look at the track record of Paul Heyman as a manager in WWE. He has betrayed and screwed over every single person he's managed.
True. Very, very true.
Neither CM Punk nor Roman Reigns at this point needs Paul Heyman for clout. Seth could use it to repackage and revamp his character. If you notice, he doesn't say freaking anymore. He lets the crowd say it. They don't put it online anymore. Seth freaking Rollins doesn't exist. And I believe after Mania, we will have a full repackage of Seth Rollins with Paul Heyman. And I do believe that he is the number 3 in the Cena Rock equation.
I'm glad you said that. Let me grab my pencil a little more here. And no, that wasn't a euphemism for y'all. Don't be nasty. See, I knew that was going to pop you. I knew it. I believe you're correct. I believe that Seth Rollins leaves WrestleMania with Paul Heyman in tow, and I think that things get worked around to where Seth Rollins is the third man, and we go on with that, and we get the darker, pissed off all the time Seth Rollins, right up until they all turn on him. And we find out that the third person all along was Roman Reigns. And Paul Heyman has been in contact the entire time with Roman Reigns. And Roman at some point gets to use the line, "Did you really think my family would turn on me?" I think that's where, I'm just saying.
I think that's absolutely something they could do, but I don't think that resonates as hard as Rollins because of the relationship Rollins has to Cody. Rollins was there the day he returned. Rollins was there the match where he had Hell in the Cell and he had to leave. Rollins was the shield that allowed him to win the title. Rollins has been he's been by Cody's side, whether it's against him or tagging with him, one way or the other. He has been connected to Cody from day one. If Rock and Cena's program with Cody has a third person in it, the only person that makes real sense is Seth Rollins.
Okay, I feel it. Looking at the chat, we get Sarah saying, "I'd be real surprised if Paul Heyman doesn't win." Paul Heyman always wins, just so that's said. Calls him the Paul Reset. Jello saying, "ABP, anyone but Punk." Mikey saying, "We're going to get Seth was right. CM Punk and Heyman go heel." Camino saying, "The Authority revised." And Jello saying, "There is a thought out there that Jay is in The Rock's pocket." I mean, family. Like the fact that it's the bloodline kind of keeps that going. So that's our night one. Let's get into night two. We have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul, or the match that I like to refer to as which 15-year veteran is going to put over Logan Paul this time.
I think what I said before. I think Karrion Kross helps Logan Paul win, and we go to an AJ Karrion feud. Logan Paul has lost more matches in WWE than he's won, and I don't believe he's won anything at Mania by himself. I think he won with Miz, right? Or was that SummerSlam? I can't remember if it was Mania.
I don't remember right now either.
But he has lost more than he's won. He is due a Mania win. And I think that AJ he's already said he's in his final contract, and he'll have no problem putting Paul over. And if it gets us AJ Karrion in a longer feud, I'm willing to give Logan Paul the win to get that.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at as well. I think I put on here, I think that Logan Paul takes it and then somehow Karrion Kross is involved. Jello says his prediction on that is an early pee break. I like it. Moving on to match number 2, we have Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a Sin City street fight. What do you think?
I think Drew has to win this one.
I believe that, and this is the way I put it down, I think the one-eyed Scotsman is due one here.
Yeah. He is. His character has suffered a lot. I mean, let me back. I'm not saying the booking's been bad. I'm saying his character has suffered a lot of losses, and most of them have been because his character is his own worst enemy, and he gets in his own way a lot. But this one is, this is your classic clusterfuck match where we can do whatever we want in it. We can have all the bells and whistles. I feel like this is the one he wins because whatever they do, Priest can save face because it wasn't a regular match.
Right. Camino saying Damian Priest all day. I've got Drew McIntyre in this one. Like I said, I feel like he's due one here. Mikey saying Drew's going to win unless they use real glass. Yeah, look, cry me a river, Mike. Good stuff. Good stuff. Match number 3, IC title 4-way. You've got Braun Breaker, our champion. You've got Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and Penta Cero Miedo.
Smart money. I believe Penta walks out with the title. I believe that whoever wins, I don't believe Braun is the one who gets pinned. But I do think Penta is going to walk out. However, I am extremely hopeful that Dominic wins by accident and that he accidentally pins Finn because
I was talking to you about
that's
that.
the story. Finn and Dom is the story. So if we did a thing where Finn's already down and out and Dom takes a spear and falls backwards on count the fall, and before Dom realizes who he's beaten, he's got the belt. Finn sees him with the belt. We've got a personal story between those two characters. I don't know that that'll happen. That's just my guilty pleasure. But I do think that the one thing I can say, I don't believe Braun Breaker is walking out of Mania the champion.
Well, let me paint for you a word picture. This is how I see the last 2 minutes of that match going. Braun Breaker spears Finn. Finn's laid down. He's done. He's out. While that's going on, Penta gives Dom the Mexican Destroyer, which Dom gets up and is, all wobbly on his pegs and fixing to fall over. While, right after Dom gets up, Braun Breaker spears Penta. They both go through the ropes out of the ring. Dom falls backwards, lands on Finn. 1, 2, 3. He doesn't even know that he's won the title yet. He just knows that when it's all said and done, he now has the title. And it's because he pinned Finn. And now we have a problem.
Get out of my head, John. Get out of my head.
Like, that is what I want to see happen.
Yeah.
So I'm with you in the fact that there's no possible way. 2 things that will not happen in this match. Number 1, Braun Breaker's not leaving with that belt. And number 2, he's not going to be the one that gets pinned to lose it. No. Those are 2 things I will guarantee.
Yeah.
We have Liv and Raquel versus Bayley and Lyra for the Women's Tag Team Championship. What do you got?
This is the one match that I honestly don't care about on the entire show. The ending doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I mean, the match is going to be fine. I'm not discounting their work. The match is going to be great. There's no way this match can't be good. Okay.
Right.
Everybody in this match is solid. They're going to have a lot of fun and they're going to tell a great story. Mm-hmm. It's inconsequential to me because the women's tag title is booked so weirdly. And one of these other participants is the Intercontinental Champion. And it's so weird that we're even having this match like this. So, I mean, if I have to pick somebody, I'll say something happens between Bayley and Lyra and the champs retain, and it leads to Bayley and Lyra having another match for the Intercontinental title.
And we're, again, very much on the same line here. My prediction is I think the champs retain. It starts a program between Lyra and Bayley for the IC title. It makes more sense that way. It's the only thing that really does make sense. I told you before why I think that they're doing this tag match is because Lyra's not ready for a singles title defense, and this gives her a chance to be elevated and set up a series of matches between her and Bayley that will elevate her even more, whether she's got the belt or not. Looking back at the chat, I missed a couple here. Jello says Drew exercises his demons. Mikey saying Dom wins. Camino saying Penta or Dom. Esca saying Cero Miedo. Jello says Dom wins because that's the only reason he's there. I like that. Camino saying Hugger Bailey is back. I wish. I liked Hugger Bailey. Mikey saying the champs retain. Jello saying Bailey and Lyra. And Mikey saying the story is about Lyra and Bailey. I agree with that. It is about Lyra and Bailey. So we get to our women's triple threat. Before we talk about who's going to win this, so many things on the line here, not just the belt. Bianca is undefeated at WrestleMania. Rhea has never pinned Io. And then, of course, you've got Io who's trying to retain her title. So many things on the line here. What do you think?
I think that 3 things. I think Rhea does have Io pinned in the match, but the ref is down and Rhea can't get the win. But she had Io beat, so that's something that they can throw to their story down the line. I do think that Rhea is the one who takes the pin, and I do think that it's Bianca who wins the match.
Okay.
They're going to keep Bianca. The Bianca streak is going to become a thing.
I feel like this is one where we're completely on opposite ends, because I feel like I said earlier in the predictions, I feel like it comes to light that Bianca was involved in what happened to Jade, that it was her and Naomi, and I feel like Jade comes to the ring and pulls Bianca completely out of this match, beats the hell out of her. The ref may be down, like you were talking, when that happens, and I believe that Rhea gets her first win over Io Sky. That's my thought on it. I think Rhea walks away the champ.
See, I think if Jade beats Naomi and then Jade goes after Bianca for the reasons that you stated, to me, what makes sense to that story is Jade accidentally ensuring Bianca wins so that Bianca gets the title, retains her streak, and now Jade can chase Bianca as the champion.
That works too. That makes good sense. We've got let's see. We've got Camino saying Jade wins over Naomi, then costing Bianca to Rhea. We've got Jello saying Rhea wins. Mikey says with the disrespect of Bianca and Ripley, Io gets her receipt. I could see that. And Jello saying Bianca goes heel. It's going to be interesting to see where this one goes. I'm excited for it. I want to see what happens. It's one of the ones I'm really invested in. And that, of course, brings us to, well, before our main event, Randy Orton. Who's he fighting? Just throw it out there now. Who is Randy Orton fighting at WrestleMania?
I want to see Nick Aldis. I think it's Aleister Black.
I am with you in the fact that I think it's Aleister Black, but if it's Nick Aldis, I ain't going to be mad at it. I do not want it to be Solo Sikoa or Tama Tonga.
I would really rather it be Nick Aldis, honestly. I think that that's a chance to have a good match that no one sees coming. Randy can get the win. It's not an issue. And it opens the door for Aldis to do more down the line without setting any kind of expectation. I think it's a win-win for everybody, and we can save the debuts for TV where we can actually try to get a rating out of it.
And that makes perfect sense. I personally want it to be Nick Aldis, just because I think it's going to be, nobody's expecting, like, the questions are there already. Is he, I mean, he's in great shape, but is he in ring shape? Is he going to be able to handle a match with Randy Orton? So to see them have a match and Nick hold his own, even in a loss, I think would be awesome.
Nick is the modern day Nick Bockwinkel, and he's always in shape. He spends time at the PC. Mm-hmm. He and Adam Pearce both are always ready to go.
I'm waiting for that match.
Dude, here's the thing. I think that they don't want Pearce and Aldis to wrestle because they don't want them to show up a lot of people on the roster.
That's the reason I do want them to wrestle.
Nick Aldis.
Everybody has to step their shit up after that. All right. So looking over at the chat, we've got Orton. Doesn't matter. It's Orton. from Camino. Mikey saying Gary the Milkman Millman. OTB Lilith Blood saying I hope it's Aldis. Jello saying the Aldis pop would be epic. Yeah, that if it's Aldis, I said that if Big E shows up on night one, that's the biggest pop of the night for night one. If it's Aldis, that's the biggest pop of the night for night two. No question. Lil saying I wouldn't want it to be Aleister Black. That's a waste. Yeah, I mean, kind of. I'd rather see that on TV, but it would also, it would make a good debut.
It would be a moment, but it's also one of those things where you can have the moment, but then you have to ask yourself, what's next?
The two most dreaded words in all of wrestling. What's next?
Well, there may be I think the real most dreaded are, and then the bell rings.
And then the bell rang. Camino says Aldis and triple threat. Orton, Aldis, and Adam Pearce. I'm for it. Let's do it. Mikey saying it will be the biggest pop. And this is something we're going to discuss in the next match, unless the glass breaks. And the glass breaking is all about the main event for night two, Cody versus John Cena. What do you got?
That'll be the biggest pop if that happens. This one's hard, man, because they've booked themselves into a pickle. I think Cena has to win. I don't see how he doesn't win. I think it's a crappy moment because we should be celebrating it instead of booing it. But I don't see a world where Cena allows his last year to contain a heel turn and then turns around and loses at WrestleMania. I just don't see it. It doesn't make any sense to me. If we have to have an unsavory moment out of this, I think we forego the pop instead of cutting his knees off as a heel. So I think that either way, I don't like it, but I say Cena wins.
I am with you on that. My exact wording on my prediction in my notes is I've been back and forth on this one over and over and over, but I think Cena takes it in nefarious fashion. I do think The Rock gets involved. I do think we get the glass to break. I do think that you get the stunner and the oversell from The Rock. I think that Cena ends up winning the match. And the reason it makes the most sense for me for Cena to win the match is what happens after. Your what's next, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
The way we've got it predicted out so far, at least the way I've got it in my predictions, Cena's got the belt and he's with The Rock. Jay's got a belt. Jacob's got a belt. The hell is Solo doing?
Yeah.
And I think we get that. I think we get Solo trying to, insert himself into things, and you ain't got no belt. Where's your gold? So that's where I think we go with the Cena win. We've got Camino saying Cena. Jello says Stone Cold, a special referee. That ought to be fun. Camino says Cena wins with Rock's help, and then Dustin returns. I would love to see Dustin come back. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Dustin's under a new contract. He can't come back.
Well, that's it. That's our WrestleMania predictions. I do want all of you to go to the Discord and put your predictions in there. Solo pins R-Truth for the 24/7 title to join him. Then he's got gold. I love it. 24/7, 7-Eleven, I-25. That's one of my favorite belts, or at least hearing R-Truth talk about it. So That does it for, like I said, that does it for our WrestleMania predictions. Go put your predictions in on the Discord. That about does it for tonight. We're actually a little past time, but that's all right. We grown folk. We ain't got bedtime. I want to do as I always do. As we're closing up the show, I want to turn it over to you, Rick. Anything you want to say to the people watching, the people listening, to the wrestling world in general?
We're being given a lot of really good stuff this weekend. TNA tonight, SmackDown tomorrow, Stand and Deliver, Night 1 of WrestleMania, Hall of Fame, Night 2, Raw After Mania, NXT. I mean, there's so much going on right now, so much good to watch. Just enjoy the show and stop complaining because you're not talented enough to do it yourself.
Nope, I feel you. If you happen to be lucky enough to be one of the people that's in Las Vegas, don't be a dick. Let the wrestlers do what they got to do. Don't be that guy. Leave them alone. Don't follow them around in the airport. Don't go to the hotel.
Or we could just normalize wrestlers beating the shit out of people in public. That'd be great.
I mean, it would make for good TV. World Star.
Yeah.
I will say this. I'm excited for this week in wrestling. This is the week. I am really thankful to everybody that's joined tonight. Rick, of course, thank you for being on the show. Thank you to everybody that's been in the chat. You guys are the reason that I can do this, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys giving me a platform to do this. So all the thanks in the world to you guys. As you're thinking about all the wrestling going on, don't forget we've got independent wrestling going on. We've got Camino saying, I got words for you. Go support local indie wrestling. And you can do that May the 10th in Leveland at the TMW Event Center for BCW Head Games. You can do it at Jake's Back Room May 24th for Tornado Slam Squared Circle Pro. It's going to be good times. And apparently I'm going to take a Perfect Plex during the intermission at BCW Head Games. So that ought to be fun. I do want to remind everybody we've got the Discord going. We will be here live tomorrow night on the Discord with the SmackDown watch along, getting ready to go into WrestleMania. We will also be on the Discord doing WrestleMania watch along. It will be just the WrestleMania show. It won't be the pre-show, any of that. We will do WrestleMania watch alongs on both nights. So we got a lot going on. I hope to see all of you there. Until then, I'm Guapo. That's Rick Elsie. We're not your average marks. See y'all tomorrow night. Yeah.
Find my head right.